All right, greetings everybody. My name is Robert Sean Kennedy. I'm going to be your history instructor for the fall semester 2020. This is a History 1301 course for both my full semester students and my mini-mester students this orientation is for. And the purpose of this is just to get you oriented how to navigate and how to succeed in the course. So let's get started right away. So you've already got here, we're in the Start Here folder. You're in here, this is the orientation. In here as well, there will be an exam to take. You need to take the exam for the course content to be made available to you. Excuse me. You can look through this. There's helpful information in here as well. But once you've gone through that, it is time, and you've completed the orientation. I have to grade it. They're short answer questions. I'll grade them fairly quickly. Let me know in Pronto that you completed it. That will help me grade your exam as quickly as possible. But once that is all done, then you are ready for the course content. So get the orientation done as quickly as possible. And it will pretty much just look like this, right? If you're in my mini-mester course, it stops at week 9, and the dates will be different since you're in a more condensed class. For my full semester students, you are going to have a 16-week course. Okay, so week 1. Well, before we get to week 1, again, this online chat tool here is the best way to get a hold of me. You can either go here or right here. And let me open it up real quick. All right, now that it's open, here's what it will look like. Now, if you've never used Pronto, it sometimes takes a while to populate, so just wait for that. If it takes excessive amount of time, meaning more than a couple of minutes, then you just close out the window and come back to it, and it should be up. If you have problems with Pronto and you're not able to open it up, as with any technical problems, you could get a hold of me, but more likely than not, I'm not going to be able to respond sufficiently to your question. I'll try to be as helpful as possible, but distance education is going to be your best bet. They're very helpful over there. You can email them. You can call them at 872-2598. I think they have a chat box available, and this is all available within the Blackboard link. But yeah, you could always call them as well. If you type in here, it's just going. This is a right here. The default will blast your entire message to the entire class, which is fine if you have a message for the entire class, or if you just have a question that you would like other students to helpfully answer, maybe even me. But you can use that to respond directly to me. What you want to do is or to message me directly. Rather, you want to click that little plus and then go to direct message, and then my name is Robert Kennedy, and it will pop up right there. So you click there, starting chat, and there you go, right? And then you can type your message. Just want to show that real quick. That's the best way to get a hold of me. You could call me, but I'm not always in my office, so I would rather us go through the Pronto app. And in that way, if we do need to talk on the phone, we can arrange for that. But sometimes what happens is a student will call me, we'll play phone tag for a day, 2, 3 days, sometimes a week, and that's not good for you, that's not good for me. So this is a great way of getting a hold of me as quickly as possible. I have the Pronto app on my smartphone, right? You can do that as well. You don't need to access Pronto on your phone, like right here. This is on my desktop, so you can access it from your desktop as well. Okay, so enough about that. So real quick, I have some important items here. So just take note, all quizzes, discussion posts, and replies and unit exams are due at the date indicated in the course content at 5 p.m. So anytime you see a date right there, discussion 1, August 27th, it's due at 5 p.m. Chapter 1 quiz. It is due on the 28th at 5 p.m. So just make sure you know what date something is due, and know that at 5 p.m. It will not be accepted after that. Okay, any missed or low scored quiz can be replaced by the unit exam. So take note of that, right? So week 1 you go through, week 2 you go through, week 3, week 4, right? This is for my full semester students. Obviously for the mini-mester, the exam comes much sooner than that. But for my full semester students, week 1. You have your exam here, and let's say you missed the chapter 3 quiz and got a pretty low score on chapter 2, and then you ended up getting a 95% on exam 1. Get a hold of me through Pronto and say, hey, I got a 95, I missed chapter 3 quiz. I will go ahead and replace your exam 1 score. I'll replace your chapter 3 score with whatever you earned on unit 1, right? So that's if you missed it or it was a lower score than your unit exam. So no need to contact me saying, hey, I missed the quiz, can you reopen it for me? The answer will be no. Here is how you make up your points on that. Students not submitting, do take note of this, is very important. Students not submitting 2 consecutive assignments and or scoring lower than a 50% per unit are subjected to being withdrawn from the course. So be aware of that. If you're missing assignments or you are overall, what I mean by 50% of a unit, it's by the time we get done with week 4 for my full semester class, if at the end of this unit, weeks 1 through 4 will constitute unit 1, you end up having a 35%, you are subjected to being withdrawn from the class. It's not an automatic withdrawal. I most likely will contact you and say, what's up, why, it looks like you're missing assignments or you're scoring low, is there anything I can do to help you? From there, you might be withdrawn from the class, or you might just not have realized something that you were supposed to do. I see that you're on track, and you'll remain in the course. Right? So just keep that in mind about that, about missing consecutive assignments. I understand missing an assignment here or there. That's normal. We're human. Life definitely comes up. But what I want to prevent going forward is that a student is continuously missing assignments and or scoring low on assignments being submitted. And if this is not the time or place for you to be in this course, then we want to take care of that immediately. Okay, guidelines for short answer questions. Yes, let's look at that together real quick here. Okay, go through this. So I'll talk about this a little bit, but you're going to be, for discussions, for your exams, and any kind of writing you're doing that's requiring you to construct sentences, keep this in mind. So for your discussion posts and or your short answer questions for the exams, and I'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to the exams, really strive for at least making each response a solid paragraph, right? Paragraph is generally 4 to 6 sentences. Depending on the prompt, depending on the question, depending on the information, that's generally going to be 1 to 3 paragraphs. So you end up writing something for a short answer or discussion post that is only a couple of sentences. This particular bullet point right here is just an indication that you should go back to the material and see if there is more material you could put into your response. And what type of things should you be putting in your response? Well, you want to be able to refer specifically to the source material provided to you in Blackboard. And by the way, you should only be referring and sourcing to information provided in Blackboard. No outside information allowed in this course. So you can use primary sources or secondary sources. You can open those links to find out what that means exactly. pretty simple concept. A primary source is like a document, like a journal or a newspaper, something that was produced and that has been archived to today, that was produced in the time we are studying. So for example, if Thomas Jefferson wrote John Adams a letter, and that letter is within your course content for a particular chapter, that's a primary source. Or if there is a newspaper clipping within your content from 1861 when the Civil War began, that's a primary source. A secondary source is a lecture produced by me, or a textbook chapter, right? Just giving you kind of the narrative of what's going on, right? That's a secondary source. Refer to dates. All of your responses should have dates in them. Dates aren't the most important thing when it comes to history, but you do want to couch your responses with dates, right? And so if you notice that you're not earning an 80-90% on a short answer or discussion post, that might be one of the reasons, right? Geography, you want to refer to geography when relevant, and it usually is, and try to be specific as possible, right? So is what you're talking about, did it happen in New England? If so, where in New England? Did it happen in Massachusetts? If it happened in Massachusetts, was it Boston? Was it Salem, right? Be as specific as possible as the information that you're being provided to allows you to be. Specific individuals, refer to specific individuals. So don't just refer to women of the colonial era. Are there examples of women in the colonial era for your particular prompt that you're writing about? If you can strive to demonstrate connections between your response and other related responses. So you can further expand on your response to show how it relates to other parts of the chapter or a previous chapter. Anyway, you can go through this yourself. There's a little grading rubric you can go through, but very important. This is something that trips up a lot of students. They'll respond with just a few words or a sentence, and they're wondering why they're getting such a low grade. So not only do you want to make sure that you have sufficient amount of information, but you also want to make sure that you're being as specific as possible with references, with examples, as indicated within these guidelines. Okay, so lockdown browser, anytime you take an exam, the orientation exam or the unit exam, you need to do it, you need to open Blackboard through the lockdown browser, right? So if you go there, it'll download the app. Right. If you have problems with it, usually students do not have problems with it, but if you do call Distance Education at 872-2598. And then right here is kind of a how-to do most things on Blackboard. I would recommend kind of going through that. It just goes through the normal applications of how to check grades or submit an assignment, that kind of thing. Okay, so week one. Just going through week one. Each week might have a chapter and or a lecture, might have both, or just might have a couple of chapters or a couple of lectures. So it will always have the due dates here. Always go by these due dates when considering what assignments are due for that week. So the first thing you want to do is you want to open up the assignment. And the first thing you're going to see is basically a study guide for this chapter. What I highly recommend is it will only take you 5 minutes tops to physically handwrite these prompts down. All right? Handwrite them. Right. A lot of students don't do this, but the students that do succeed. And the reason why they're going to succeed more so is that by writing it down, you're going to become more aware of what's happening. If you simply just kind of see, okay, there's a bunch of questions here, I'm going to fish for some words to put in there, you're not going to be as aware of the material and be kind of primed for the material when you're going through the content. So physically writing these down, and then physically writing your responses down. Now the number one reason why you are going to want to physically write down all of your notes is that you can use notes during the unit exams. They have to be handwritten, not note typed. notes can be used. During the exam, there'll be a webcam. Your webcam will be activated, and you need to show your surroundings. There do not have any typed notes there at all. So, but you can use, I would get a notebook for this class. And in that, divided up by chapters, right? There's going to be 14 chapters, so divided up by chapters, handwrite this down, and as you're going through the material, right, you can respond to those questions as you go through. So that's how basically each chapter will work, and that's what I recommend doing for each chapter, is again, handwriting these questions down, going through the material, and responding to this with handwritten notes so you can use it during your exam. If you don't use handwritten notes or don't write notes, this would be an incredibly challenging course, because there's no way most human beings are going to be able to memorize this stuff. But if you have detailed notes with dates, with pertinent individuals, with pertinent geography, you're going to notice that this class is going to be very accessible to you, and you will be most likely be able to succeed in this course successfully, complete this course successfully. Okay, so going back to, oops, I don't know why I keep doing that, to Unit 1, here's where you'll post your discussion. Right, so by August 25th, you need to get a hold of me during in Pronto and request a prompt. I will send you a prompt, and that will be yours to respond to. And you're going to title your post basically the prompt you were given. All right, and the guidelines are you're going to write a 1 to 2 paragraph. 5 to 6 sentences. If you write up to 3 paragraphs, that's fine. If you write more, that's fine as well. But at least 1 to 2 paragraphs. And then after posting, you need to respond to 1 to 3 students with helpful information, insight, and or historical significance that will help further develop the response that you're responding to. And that should be 1 to 2 paragraphs. Yeah, so that's basically it for that. Let me open this up, see how, right? So you just go here, create a thread. You're going to put in the title here, whatever prompt you were given, right? And then you put your response here. Okay. Now the thinking here is that you'll notice each week has a discussion, right? And what these prompts are going to be, they're going to come directly from, I'll go to chapter 2. They're going to come directly from the study guide questions for the assigned chapters, right? So at the end of this unit, what you're going to see in the discussion post is responses from each student and students responding to each student. So the discussion posts are collectively acting as basically a study session for you as a student. I wouldn't rely on those responses as the answer. They should be ideally what you need to use them for as a way of affirming your notes and further developing your notes. So if you see information that you didn't key in on that you include in your notes, this is an excellent opportunity to further develop your notes by using the resources of your fellow students. With that said, don't rely on the discussion posts. Those responses could have inaccurate information, so you want to confirm that the discussion posts are accurate, they're relevant to the prompt, and they're coming directly from the assigned content. All right, what else can we do here? Okay, so let me go to a lecture. So there's going to be about 9 or 10 lectures throughout the semester, right? And what you're doing with the lecture is you're preparing on your own a 5 to 8 paragraph essay. So I would handwrite this essay so you can use it during the exam. If it's selected during your exam, then it's right there. You're just transcribing what you have written in your notes to the provided window in your unit exam. So how do you prepare for these? You click there, and what you're going to do to build your essay is, here's the essay prompt. So this is what you're going to get, this is what you can get in your exam. Right? Discuss the interrelationship between a successful cash crop, cheap labor, cheap land, and how did slavery slowly develop in the British colonies and early United States history. So that's going to be the exam essay. And how you're going to respond to that is you're going to develop a response to each of these learning objectives. So these learning objectives are basically an outline of your essay. And so these are components of how to build your 5 to 8 paragraph essay. You'll notice right here at least one paragraph. So you'll go through this video, you'll go through these notes right here. See, if you click these notes, oops, oh, I'm glad I clicked there. Let me hold on a second. Let me check something real quick. Okay, so if you happen to notice when you click this, it says something about soft chalk and it's unavailable. Let me know. They recently discontinued some software, doesn't really matter, but I had to transfer all of the notes to a different medium. So that's when I clicked on that, that's what you were seeing. I just pushed pause, it came back, and the notes should be there now. Yeah, so click there. Yeah, so these are the notes. Basically, it's the same prompt. There's the video, but down here you'll see some written information that will help you respond to the learning objective prompt, right? So here's the learning objective prompt that you're responding to. Discuss the background of when, how, and why Jamestown was founded, as well as its first few years. So you'll click there, or here to get the information. There's always some information in the video that's not in the notes, and vice versa, right? And always look here as the guideline. So this learning objective should be at least one paragraph. This one should be at least one paragraph as well. And this one should be right here as indicated at least 3 paragraphs, right? So this is where you get, when you combine your response to all 3 learning objectives, 1, 2, 3, this is what's going to give you your 5 to 8 paragraph essay response to this essay prompt right here. So we're just basically scaffolding this. Instead of just saying, hey, go find this information somewhere, you're not doing a research project, you're responding specifically to the information that's provided to you in there for that. So that's basically the major part of the course, is that there are per week there are either going to be chapters or lectures, and or both, right? And so at each week there will be a quiz or discussion, and then when we finish a unit there will be a unit exam. So go in real quick to show you what a unit exam is, and then we could stop. It's basically 25 multiple choice questions which come directly from the quiz questions. So it's pulled from a test bank, so you might, during the exam, you might not see all of the questions from the quizzes, but you definitely will see some questions reappear. So taking the quiz is a way of preparing for the exam. 5 learning objective prompts. So those learning objective prompts, those come from the study guides in each chapter. Make sure you handwrite your notes and use those handwritten notes during this exam. And then 1 lecture essay. So for Unit 1, there are, in my full semester class, there are 2 lecture essays in Unit 1. One of those is going to be randomly selected. There are at least anywhere from 9 to 12 short answer questions per chapter out of those chapters. So there's, I believe, 5 chapters for Unit 1. 5 of those learning objective prompts will be randomly selected from the chapters, and it will show up on your exam. So you want to prepare for them all, for all of the lecture essays that are assigned and for all the learning objective prompts, so you're not caught off guard. You have extensive detailed notes on those. And in doing so, you will get the grade that you will earn in doing that, and a grade that you'll be proud of. Do not use any other computers, iPads, whatever during the exam. Exam is timed at 3 hours. No backtracking questions. That goes for the quizzes too, so once you click next, you can't go back to the question. No late submissions accepted for the exams either. So if you happen to miss a deadline, if and only if you contact me within 24 hours past the deadline, you will, for partial credit, you'll be given an alternative assignment, so you don't lose all of those points. If you complete the exam 24 hours prior, get a hold of me, and if you earn a 75% or higher outright, 5% extra credit will be added to your exam score for completing it early. And I do recommend, especially in an online class, to try to complete your work at least a day early. So if a quiz says it is due on September 4th, try to get the quiz done September 3rd. One, it just feels better to have things done early. And two, this is an online class. You should expect technical problems. If you have a technical problem at 4:50 p.m. when a quiz is due and you're trying to get a hold of me, I might not be able to help you. If you're having a technical problem the day before, I might be able to help you, and that technical problem will not get in the way. So anticipate technical problems by, at the best of your ability, trying to complete each assignment, whether it's a quiz, a discussion post, or an exam, at least a day early. And again, lockdown browser and webcams are required for each exam. You take the exam here. Once you're done, immediately move on to week 5, right? And going through the material. All right, so that I think is about it. All right, and that's enough, right? I've been talking for about 26 minutes, so that should be the orientation. Take the exam, and let me know once you've completed the exam, and I will grade it promptly so the course content will be made available. Don't hesitate to get a hold of me, and I'll talk with you guys later. Take care. Goodbye.